Have you ever noticed that there are some people that just keep winning? They keep getting better. They keep just achieving so many things in a short period of time. And you always just question yourself, like, how the fuck is that possible? Like I was walking down the street a couple weeks ago, and I saw this guy drive past me in a Lamborghini, and I was like, how the fuck does this guy have the money? I think it was some like rough, young Asian guy, roughly 20 to 30. And I was like, how the fuck do you have enough money to buy that? And then it made me ask these questions to myself. And I was like, you know what? Wait a minute. It actually makes perfect sense why he has the car and I don't. Let me explain. So, if you're like a person like myself and you've always thought about, like, how do I actually make more money? How do I earn more? How do I increase my earnings? How do I save more money? Or how would I even get a car like this? Because I would need to save up like 5 years of cash, full time, working full time, 7 days a week, in order to even, maybe even 10 years to even think about. And that would be like without paying rent, without paying food, and saving all the money in its entirety if I wanted to buy a car like that. And so it made me think, okay, what is the path? What do these people do? What do these people work on a day-to-day basis? Who did I talk to? Maybe they've inherited something. Maybe what have their like parents have done before them? Maybe they've started a company. Maybe they've had different types of connections. Maybe they've had a certain network that I didn't have access to. How do I get access to those resources, and how do I create a version of reality that is similar so that I can achieve something as remarkable as gaining a huge chunk of cash? And I'm not talking about just buying a luxury sports car for the fun of it. I'm just talking about creating a life for yourself where buying a car like that makes perfect sense, and it's actually super easy, and you just do it every single fucking Monday. So what is that going to cost? Well, when you actually think about it, if you don't have the network, if you don't have the resources that these people have, if you don't have a bunch of these things, the elements, the ingredients to make the magic potion, well, in that case, you are going to have to artificially create that for yourself. How do you fucking do this? Very easy. First, you need to look at everything that you have in your life right now. And I recommend everybody do this exercise at home. Like, if you're watching the videos, chances are you're an action taker. And if you're not, I do heavily recommend taking action upon what I'm talking about in this video, so that way you can improve in your own life. So, first step that I always recommend is taking out a pen and a paper. Pen and paper is always going to be the number one thing that you can actually take action on. Very easy, very simple. Pen and paper, there you go. So we take the notebook out, new random page, and you're like, okay, what the fuck do we want? Okay, so step one, we're gonna write down, what do you have right now? And this might be the wrong pen for it, what are your current resources that you have access to? What are your current resources? Very easy. What are your current resources? And then you list out stuff like people or connections. And I don't know if you can read my handwriting, but we'll see. So people, connections, what else? Apps / tools, or or any and all things that you can use. You have a computer, you have a phone, you have a camera, you have a microphone, you have I don't fucking know, you have a hammer, you have a fucking whiteboard, you have everything. Objects, stuff you can use. So you've got people, connections, then you've got stuff you can use. Then after that, we've got, what else do we have? Skills. We have skills. Very important. Skills and knowledge. Skills and knowledge. Very important. So those are the main three things that you need to have, right? So if you actually take these things and you actually take some time and write everything down on a piece of paper for yourself, you'll start to come with some interesting things. I did that when I first started, and that allowed me to get my first two clients within my business. I started learning digital marketing, copywriting, and I guess social media management like 4 years ago. I worked with a friend of mine who I got introduced to through a family member, and I worked with a friend of mine that I met on playing fucking video games who was a photographer who wanted to become a professional photographer. And so I helped him scale his Instagram from 1,500 followers to like 8,000 followers or something like that on Instagram. So that was a pretty good first step. But over the course of those 2 first years, I didn't make any money. So I need to keep going with this formula here and keep expanding. And that's what I noticed. I was actually born in France at the time, right? So born a fucking half Frenchman, half, my dad was born in New Zealand, so I'm half Frenchman, half Kiwi. So technically I have access to both nationalities. So what I ended up doing is looking at all of my cards, and I was like, wait. I've never actually lived in New Zealand for a long period of time. What if I just tried my luck and just went there and said, you know what, I'd take a risk and fuck it, bro. Just fucking learn on the fucking thing. And I was like, you know what, that's actually not a bad idea. Because all my other ideas were quite small, quite limited. So I was like, okay, to broaden my horizons, I'll decide, fucking go there. And so we're actually coming close to 2 years now that I've been in New Zealand ever since I made that decision. And honestly, I think it was the best decision to take at the time. I made so much more money since then. I learned so many things. I got in touch with so many people. And you can also add, actually, I'm going to add something. I'm going to add something to the list. If I can fucking find it. There it is. I'm going to add something to the list. The other thing is your environment. Your environment is extremely important, because if you live in a big city like I do, so we've got all this shit. There we go. So we've got environment. Environment is very important as well, because in my environment in France, I didn't know anybody. Nobody gave a fuck. I didn't have any reputation. I didn't have anything. And I was just living at my parents' house and just fucking, you know what I mean? So what I ended up doing was fly to New Zealand and then notice that the people that I could meet here were much more open-minded. So I started meeting a lot of people, talking with a lot of people, improving my people skills. And then from there, thanks to this environment, I managed to get a few clients by doing in-person outreach. So basically what I did was I walked around town, talked to a bunch of business owners, and then one of them one day, a barbershop, said, you know what, I'm actually looking for this, and you just came in at the right perfect time, so I'd like to sit down and see what we can do together. And then from there, we started a relationship over the course of 10 months, I think it was. My first ever paid client. And honestly, it was a pretty good time. Learned a lot of things. Got very good at creating content on social media for him. Got very good at running advertisements on Google for him. Got very good at creating websites, all that sort of stuff. And running ads basically for him. So, good small first experience. And then from there, just expanded. But the core principle remains that I used these things here. I used all of this in order to come up with a solution to make more money. And you can do the same. I know this guy who was looking at all of the things in his environment, and he noticed that there was an actual gap, because he used to go to the gym every single day. You might know this guy. He's a pretty big guy on Instagram, but he's an Aussie, I think. And he was looking at everything around him, and he was like, wait a minute. All sources of protein are like super expensive, and all like, especially protein snacks are super expensive, and there's a bunch of shit added in them. So what if I created a protein snack that is 100% pure protein with as little added stuff in it as possible, so that it's basically just like really good high quality protein for people that go to the gym and that want to snack on protein, even like outside of like eating, basically just a snack, a protein snack. And so he created this brand called Gym Rat Jerky, and I think his name is his username is Beef CEO, I'm pretty sure. And this is a great idea, because he noticed that in his environment, nobody was doing this. So what he decided to do is, instead of just doing his own same old, he gambled all of his life savings and all of his energy and time into creating this product and brand, and it's fucking blew up. So that's proof that you can do something similar to that and succeed. Like, he went into e-com, and I went into client help, like helping clients. So it's two different avenues, but at the same time, both are quite as lucrative as, like, instead of going to work a job, you can do what I do and you'll make much more money, is what I'm saying. So from that point on, you can then choose where you go, what you do, how do you make the money, how do you make more money, and then from there you can just scale. Like, for me, a shit month would be no money, but a really good month would be like 10 grand, 15 grand, 100 grand. That would be like a good month. And then from there you can just scale and do whatever you want. So the whole point of me showing you this is to give you a process that you can use for yourself, that I used when I first started out. My own business, my own YouTube channel, my own stuff, whatever it may be. And you can apply this to literally everything. And you can be like, okay, how do I create this? And you can do this for if you're looking for a career, if you're looking for like something specific, a specific job, a specific position, or even like creating a YouTube channel, like I just mentioned. You can pinpoint, what would you want to talk about? What are you good at? What do you have at your disposal? What kind of computer? What kind of phone? What do you have access to that allows you to do things that help you make more money, or improve your skills, or improve your environment, so that way you always feel like you're winning. Because when you feel like you're winning, you always want to do more to win more, because it's super addictive. Like, when I started first making my first money with the few first clients that I landed here in New Zealand, I got super fucking addicted to getting paid. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up spending all of my time. I just because I had that job. I had a job for maybe a couple weeks when I got here first, like maybe like 2 months. And then I was like, you know what? I'm actually making enough money from my business so that I can actually quit my job and go all in on that. And I would rather make less money and have more time and more freedom to invest into improving my skills, rather than just fucking working a job to get more cash, right? So that's the sacrifice I made. And ever since then, I've been building, and it's been going good, it's been going bad, it's been going in, like, I've been learning a lot, basically. I'm not nowhere near where I want to be, and that's actually a good thing. So what I want you guys to take out of this video is this actionable step of taking the piece of paper and a pen, and just writing out, and make a list. Make a list of all of this stuff that you have access to. And I don't know if you can read it, or if the camera is inverted, or whatever the fuck. I'll check on the recording, on the editing. But basically, yes. This is possible. Whatever you might have, even if you don't know anybody, even if you think you don't have anything, you can always do something. And whatever it may be, maybe you have a phone. Chances are you're watching this video on a phone or a laptop, so you can use that to your advantage. Chances are you have something in your house that could be your next big massive project that you have no fucking clue was actually going to be something interesting until you actually thought this through and went through it. One small tip about people and connections, it's not just about the people you know and the people you've talked to, but it's also about the people that the people you know as well. So like for instance, if you have friends, they have friends and they have parents and they have family, and so you can talk to these people as well. That's like the connection through. So this is very important. The second thing about connections is it's not just about the people you know, it's about also your environment. So like I mentioned, when I walked around town and I talked to a bunch of business owners, when you go sit down at a coffee shop and you talk to a random stranger who's working on his laptop, or if you go to a like in New Zealand, Auckland here, there's a bunch of running clubs. If you sign up to a run club and you go there and you speak to the people, and you might meet someone interesting, who fucking knows, you know what I mean? So that's the whole point. Using your like your environment, the people you know, the people you don't know, the people you can talk to, the things you have access to, the tools you have at your disposal, and the skills. If you use all of it, you'll be able to come up with some interesting ideas in order to make more money. And so this is good and all, but you always need to remember that you need to combine this with creativity. If you don't really combine this with your creative skill as a human, you're not really gonna get any good results. Because the problem is, if you're always consuming content and getting distracted and pouring your focus somewhere else, basically you're not gonna make any progress, because you're going to get distracted, and your human capacity at creating interesting ideas and putting things together, like playing Lego with a bunch of different sets, just mashing everything up together. Well, you're not going to come up with interesting ideas if you're saturated. Your brain is fucking fried. You're not going to be able to fucking think straight. So the point is to detach from like doom scrolling or whatever the fuck you may do, like getting saturated, drinking, alcohol, cigarettes, whatever it may be, drug abuse, substance abuse, whatever it may be. You need to fucking stop that shit so that you can actually think for yourself and get yourself out of your fucking shit ass mess. Because this is what I did. I was in a shit position. I was leeching off of my parents' house, playing fucking 16 hours of video games every single day. And I changed that with my own fucking brain, my hands, and my fucking hard work. That's what you need to do. Like, it's not that hard. You just need to sacrifice the time you would spend on things you want to do and invest that time into things you don't want to do but you know are necessary to grow. That's what you need to do. And I'm sure, like myself, you'll find that you actually enjoy getting better day after day after a while of doing it. So yeah, I'm recording this video inside for the ones that watch my channel like a lot, because there's so much fucking rain outside. It's fucking bad. So instead of recording on the balcony, I decided to record inside the apartment, and the lighting is a little bit better. So yeah, so that's always that. But it's not gonna be an excuse to not go work outside, because I do go work outside. I don't really like working inside, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's time to get back to work. So I appreciate every single one of you guys watching until the end of the video. And as per usual, like, comment, subscribe. And I will see you in the next one, as I post every single day. I have to make some money. I will see you around then. Have a good day.